Good evening, guys. Welcome to talk number 60. We have Parul and Mushir to take us through their journey and the setup and the kind of work they're doing. Both uh, Parul is an industrial design uh, graduate and an architect in the background. And Mushir has done his visual communication and a master's in interactive telecommunications. I won't take up too much time. Just to say that besides design, Mushir is also celebrated, and he's sort of exhibited across the globe. So, with a short introduction, Mushir, I will hand over the stage to you.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Cool. Thanks, Ram. All right. Welcome everyone, and it is such a pleasure to be, on this forum. I think it's it's always we were just talking earlier, but it's always nice to be, amongst designers and especially amongst IDCs because, you instantly feel like a connect with people from IDC. So, like Ram said today, we are going to primarily talk about our journey since we graduated from IDC and actually from the time we started at IDC. And I will try and keep the conversation a little short so that we have a little more time towards the end to kind of have a discussion and, with question and answers and things like that. So without further ado, I'll get started. Like the main slide says, me and Parul, we've been running Rayden Design for past 12 years now. But in recent times, we've also set up another entity. And so I'll kind of get started. But so we're going to talk about two things. One is Rayden Design, and another one, which is more recent development, which is what we like to call as Rayden Interactive. And, in short, we refer to it as RI. So our story, like I said, starts in 2004. And the reason why it's important is also the way that I've kind of structured this presentation is that, I've realized that, our life has, since 2004, had a significant change occur every 3 years. So, and I'll kind of, talk about how that has impacted the work that we do and, our professional careers and all of that. So it starts with 2004. And so the first phase is from 2004 to 2007, right? Again, 2004 is important for us because, and IDC is important for us because I think like a lot of people on this call, IDC significantly changed our lives for the better, like since the time we joined there. And, that's also where I met Parul for the first time. And it so happened that, the first day that I met Parul was the interviews that were happening at IDC, and it also happened to be her birthday, and hence it is like remembered as 17 June 2004, right? And it kind of continues to be a trend. Anyways, so I also might digress a little bit. So Parul has told me to keep a track of time, finish this in 30 minutes. I'll try and do that. All right. So one of the, I wanted to talk about things like narrations of sorts. I think this is a small episode that happened. So while we were at IDC, we weren't fortunate enough to get a TA-ship of sorts, and hence had to figure out, like a lot of other people, to how to make money on the side while studying as well. And we took up freelance projects and things like that. This was an interesting project because it was in a way the start of Rayden, because we wanted ourselves to be represented as an organization, and we adopted Rayden as the name the brand name under which we were going to work. So this actually started while we were at IDC. And one of the first projects that we took up was, it so happened that we were tasked with a task of designing a monkey-proof dustbin for the Matharan municipality. And it was a really fun project that we did. And at the end of the design and everything, we made a prototype, installed it in Matharan, and to see if it actually worked. And it did. So at the end of it, the people that we're working with told us that, you guys can now go ahead and manufacture these and put them up. But unfortunately, we were still in IDC or had just graduated, didn't know much about it. So, and we were getting ready for the next phase of our life. So we kind of left that project midway in 2006, 2007. The only caveat was it was designed to be made in FRP because it rains a lot in Mathura. But the prototype, since it was a single piece, we made it in MS, and that is the one that we installed, right? But that was a big learning experience for us in terms of how to deal with clients, how to work with them, how to kind of charge them, or well, we learned how not to charge them because we didn't make any money out of it. But it was a great learning, and the reason I mentioned this is because this comes up later in our life as well. So that was one of the first times we kind of started using Rayden as our brand to represent ourselves. Now that takes us next to 2007, which is the big change that happened. So some of the early years I will kind of move a little quickly because I want to talk more about the more recent times. But 2007 marked a big change for us because we moved to New York, where I actually started studying for my second master's course at Tisch School of Arts in New York University. And it was a great exposure in terms of just learning how you can create art with technology as a medium. And that kind of rounded up everything that we had done so far, because I come from a computer engineering background, then did design, and then finally ended up in an art school. And hence it allowed us to kind of have that varied background of art, design, and technology, which we kind of have continued to be a part of in our career going forward. So while I was studying there, Parul had an opportunity to gain some experience with very good designers in New York as well. And some of our way of looking at design, especially product design, has been greatly inspired from the time that she spent there. So eventually, I obviously graduated and we had to get work. So this was peak in the middle of recession in 2008, 2009. Thankfully, I started interning while I was still studying back at NYU. And so, post graduation, I managed to work at two different entities, and both of them play a significant part in our career going forward. The first one was, a healthcare Frisia, and I started working there straight out of college and started working as a UI UX designer slash product manager. And started contributing towards the UI UX of their application. After a brief stint with Frisia, I actually moved on to another organization which did a lot more, interactive work, which is the kind of, work that excited me at the time. And so here, their main premise was that they would take up empty storefront windows all over the US, and we would set up interactive installations that were primarily used for advertising purposes. So what you see here is something that we did for Discovery Channel to promote the new show called Storm Chasers, right? And the idea was that once the user starts to interact with the screen, there is we do image processing so that we extract the background from the foreground, and then we create a hypothetical storm that is coming up in their background, and they get a chance to kind of be part of the action and all of that. So every concept that we did was kind of created specific to the brand or the channel that we wanted to promote, and we did a lot of this kind of work. So this basically happened till 2010, right? So 2007 to 2010 was the time when we got a lot of good exposure in the US, both on doing interactive installations, UI UX design, and product design. With all of that, this is, sorry, I forgot this was the next slide. But this was another project that we also did with the advertising company where, it was for the promotion of the movie Avatar. And this was way back when, Snapchat and filters were a thing. Like this was in 2009, 2010. So we created an application where, a user kind of takes a picture of themselves and then we morph their image to make them look like a Navi person in the movie Avatar. And they get to then share it on social media and things like that. So it was a lot of fun learning and working on these projects while we were there. But, like even when we went to the US, we had always known that it was going to be a short journey. We were going to be there for 3 years, and we always knew that we wanted to come back and start something on our own. So our Rayden design officially starts in 2010, and it's also an interesting date because it's 10th November 2010, which is the binary. number is nice. Like the engineer in me kind of keeps thinking about that. But this is how our studio looked like back in 2010. So we came back to India, set up our company, and we didn't know anything about setting up a company. Like we had to start from scratch. The one thing that we did know, or a few things that we did know, that we wanted it to be a product and a service company both. So when we were asked by the CS whether we need a VAT registration or a service tax registration, we said we'll have both because we would want to do both of those things. And I think we also were very sure about a few things from the beginning. We wanted ourselves to be a private limited company because we knew that we were going to work with clients from the US that we had kind of developed contacts with while we were there, and we also were very sure that we wanted a name that was short and easy for everyone to remember and pronounce, and hence the Rayden name kind of came about. But it was a lot of fun setting up the studio in 2010, and the idea was that we would start working on designing and developing our products, which would become the product arm of our organization. We would design them, develop them, get them manufactured, and sell under our own brand name, which is what we started to do. And then it so happened that while we were coming back from the US, we were able to kind of set up connections with a couple of clients there. So one being the outdoor advertising company that I just mentioned, and the other was Frisia that I mentioned earlier. So we kind of continued to work for both of those clients once we are back here in India as well. So in terms of the product, we started out with very simple things. We actually were in love with lighting and furniture to begin with. So we started out with lamps, shelves, and things like that. But we soon realized that if we we had to focus more on smaller objects and stay away from lighting and furniture. When we started to get into market and start to sell them, that's when we realized that it suits us much better to operate in a smaller scale as opposed to going into lighting and furniture. So like I said, we've kind of from the get-go, always maintained a balance between the product side of things and the service side of things. So while on the product side, we were developing these products for ourselves, for our brand, we continued to kind of do services for the interactive installation work. So all of that was being designed and developed here in India and deployed in the US. And we actually did this from 2010 to 2013. And we had a lot of some of the projects were really interesting. Like this was a subway station where it's close to 120 feet wide of screen and 12 feet high, and it's one continuous panoramic view of a 3D application that we created. So I will quickly show you a video which kind of is like a showreel of sorts, which shows the projects that we had an opportunity to work on.
Rayden Interactive is a design studio working at the intersection of art, design, and technology. Using inspiration from brands, context, and people, create experiences that use your whole body as the input and the output. You move in space and it starts to respond. It's really a form of magic that literally brings your dreams to life. Our medium creates active involvement with the user, leading to a lasting brand impact. Our installations are emotionally evoking and precisely engineered. The world is going digital, and we are leading the way.
All right. So, like I said, that was that was our bit from 2009 to 2013, which was a lot of fun. Did a lot of cool stuff. And but 2013 had something else in store for us. So we were getting to a point where on the product side of things, we had a bunch of things that we had developed and in production. We actually made our website for the Rayden design part of it by end of 2009, and 2013 we launched our website for the first time and started to showcase the product design side of work. And it just so happened coincidentally that the outdoor advertising company that we were working with wasn't doing so well, and they had to actually shut down the interactive side of business that we were managing on our end in India. But it wasn't all bad because a lot of people from that organization then eventually went off and started doing their own interactive installation work, which actually ended up coming to us. So we continued to do similar work for other organizations. But then it also gave us the opportunity to focus more on, rather continue to work on the product side of things, and take up other opportunities as well. So we actually started working with other clients, doing graphic design work for them, doing UI UX consultancy, and all of that. So the next phase from 2013 to 16 was actually a time when we were, at some point working with maybe 6 or 7 different clients, and we've always had this thing about having a retainership work set up with clients. So when we sign on a new client, we kind of tend to work with them on a more continuous basis. So 13 to 16 was primarily, that time of our life when we did a lot of, services in all of those different fields and continued to develop our products as well. That was actually a time when, like I said, a lot of our focus on the product moved towards smaller lifestyle objects. The Urban Tweeter series is one of my all-time favorites, and it's still something that's in production and does really well for us from a sale perspective as well. There are a bunch of other smaller objects that we did. This was part of the Play series because that was a time when we also had our child and he was growing up, and a lot of things around play were on our mind. But when we did a lot of explorations in terms of different materials and different products, and how to kind of convert an experience that we've had, or a material that we wanted to explore, and convert that into a product that can be enjoyed by everyone. So post that, we reached to 2016, and again 2016 marks a big change for us because while we were, it was good fun to kind of work with all of these clients over the years in 2000 from 13 to 16. We realized that it was difficult to kind of manage that with different types of work coming in at different time, and it wasn't really a method for scaling because it was difficult to manage resources accordingly. So 2016 we took a very conscious decision to say that we're gonna stop working with all of different clients and focus on just one, which happened to be Frisia at the time, which is the healthcare IT company that I mentioned earlier. So while I had worked with them way back in 2008, 2009, 2016, we decided that I'll take up a bigger role with Frisia, start managing their entire UI UX for their application and their host of applications. So I actually started getting more involved in the product team of Frisia itself. And while I contributed towards a lot of the UI for their applications, we continued to then develop products on the side as well. Now, it just so happened, the reason why this image is back here, and I will try to speak to this quickly. 2016-17, while all of this is going on, our son is 4 years old, and we decide to go back to Matharan, right? And we were hoping that our prototype would still be there, which we had installed in 2007. And sure enough, the prototype was definitely there. What we didn't expect was that the entire hill station was actually full of dustbins that we had designed back in 2007. And so obviously, somebody else made it. We were not involved in part of it, but it was a pleasant surprise to see that, the monkey-proof dustbins were there. But it was also a little disappointing that they didn't realize that, the prototype, while it was an MS, the actual product was supposed to be an FRP. So all of the new ones, all of the dustbins in Matharan were still made in MS and deteriorating pretty badly. So if you happen to go to Matharan, you can blame us for the dustbins that are there. All right. Coming back to the products that we continue to design and develop, we, like I said, we love exploring new materials. So we did a lot of stuff in stoneware, ceramic, metal. We actually also did a series called the Anatomy series, where the idea was to explore the hidden geometry of shapes. And this was more of a tabletop product for office use. This was again new material, terracotta, primarily used for cooking, making cooking utensils. And then, again, another materials in stone, and these are this is called as the Fire series, which are primarily candle holders that we worked on. So this time frame of 16 to 19 was actually a very stable period for us as well, because I was more deeply involved on the feature side, doing the UI UX work, managing a team within their company, and it allowed us to kind of also then do a lot of the product development that happened for our organization. We actually then onboarded a designer, a textile designer, and started working on completing our offering of homewares into textiles as well. And we've continued to do that since then, where we've done a lot of work with batik printing, which are around placemats, runners, cushion covers, and things like that. So with that, we have, for most parts, we've stayed away from doing like a service consultancy for product design. But every once in a while, we take up some projects which are exciting enough and have the the right liberties involved for us to take a part in it. So this was one of those things. We worked with a restaurant called Americano in Bombay, and they wanted an entire range of serveware to be designed for their new restaurant that they were making. They were very passionate about being involved in the whole design process of how each utensil was going to be. So we did a total of 24 different products for them, ranging again in different materials, not just ceramic, but in wood and metal as well. And if you happen to be in Mumbai, I would highly encourage to go have a meal at Americano, because they make lovely food. The chef there is really great, and you'll also get to see our crockery. While part of this was doing the crockery for them, they also wanted us to do. They were looking for doing some kind of a sculpture as part of their space. And we've always been fascinated with Calder and the mobiles that he's made. And so I always wanted to kind of do something like that. And they were open to us exploring that idea. So lo and behold, we ended up actually making a Calder style mobile for them, which is made with a lot of experience we had with beaten brass. And we figured out how to kind of do the value around it. But project allowing us to kind of go back to the fun and excitement of doing art once in a while, along with playing with technology and design as well. So with that said, one of our latest things that has happened, the bigger change that has happened happened in 2019, and then I'm running close to 24 minutes of continuous talk, so I will try and wrap this up quickly. But so while I was associated with Frisia primarily on the UI UX side of it, they were actually looking at branching out and having a more deeper engagement. We kind of had a conversation with them and figured we would actually be keen on taking that up as well. So we started off by setting up a small
What happened? Audio break. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, Moshe, I
Yes.
think we lost
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you guys for a bit. Do you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Sorry. So I will continue. But so we started off by setting up a small office space, primarily for 8 people. They were going to do product support for Frisia as an extension of what we were already doing in terms of UI UX for them, and it was very important. We saw this as an opportunity for us to apply what we've learned in terms of running a design studio and using design thinking principles to a completely different environment, which was running an IT company. Right, and we wanted to do it our way, and this allowed us to kind of indulge in that exercise. So we took that up as a challenge, set up this small team, and started in 2019 with 8 people. Pretty soon, the team kind of grew from 8 to 40 in 2020, with branching out from doing product support to then doing market research, doing client services, which is customer solutions, implementation, success, all of that. So while this arm of our business started to grow, we were still working as Rayden Design Studio. And like a lot of people whom when we hired, they always used to question us as to how come a design studio is hiring IT professionals per se. But we'll come to that. And at the same time, we continue to indulge in art projects as well. This is one of my favorite projects in the recent times. We were fortunate enough to be able to sorry, I didn't see my words, but to be able to be part of this project. It was an installation that we did for the ISRO building in Delhi, and the idea was to create a sculpture in the atrium that they have, which was around 12 stories high. This was created using close to 500 different polygonal shapes, and I'll show you the detail of it. So most of them were just metal shapes, again done with hand beaten metal, but some of them also had lighting in them. So it was again an interactive installation that we did, but we partnered with a couple of other designers for doing this, and it was a project of the biggest scale project that we had done till date. And this was towards the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And so the idea was that there was a sculpture of a girl holding a similar piece, pointing to the spiral going upwards, indicating the way towards space, which was related to ISRO. And the way that it was also meant to be used was, I'll show you a quick video here, which kind of shows the. So when you touch the little object that she's holding, it actually does different patterns of light in the whole spiral. So the way the spiral lights up is again, randomized a bit. So every time somebody touches that space, it does a different lighting pattern. So it's right. So and we were just so fortunate that we were able to get this done, installed, and also get paid for it before the pandemic happened in 2020. But this was a really fun project that we worked on. During from this time frame, as the Rayden interactive side of things was growing, we were also continued to develop the things on the design side of it. We did this is. I won't talk much about it, but this is our interpretation of a parijat flower in form of cushion covers made in batik print. We've also had collaborations in recent times where we worked with a lady who makes very beautiful handmade soaps. Her brand is Satsuma, and she had a very particular problem that she wanted a soap dish that has the minimal points of contact for her soap so that they don't dissolve very quickly. And we developed a soap dish specifically for her in that sense. And in more recent times, we've also done a set again going back to terracotta of carafe and glasses. So we continue to add more products to our offering on that side. But at the same time, like I said, we were getting questioned a lot about why a design studio is hiring IT folks. And so we eventually did the exercise of creating a new brand called Rayden Interactive, uh, all with, a new website and everything, and a new entity altogether, so that we could then, divert people accordingly in terms of, who we were hiring and where they would go. We actually ended up doing a pretty interesting exercise of creating a whole brand story around Rayden Interactive as well. So I would encourage you guys to visit Rayden Interactive to kind of learn more about what we do there and how we operate. But that's that's how 2000 since 2019 to 2022 has been, and it has been a tremendously enriching experience to be part of something completely different in that sense. And in 2022, we actually celebrated our third year anniversary of Rayden Interactive, where we've actually grown from now 800 people in the organization. This is from June of this year, again on Parul's birthday, because that is when Rayden Interactive also started. But it has been a great experience, kind of applying what we've learned as designers to the domain of running an organization, and how. So our aim now continues to be to kind of uh, create a space where people enjoy the work that they do in an IT organization, are empowered to make their own decisions, and take ownership of the work that they do as well. So we're taking this up as challenge of sorts to say, how can we design a better organization by itself, and how do you scale culture at this level? Because it's very easy to kind of maintain that when you have 8 to 10 people, but when you get to 800, there are bigger challenges that kind of show up. So 2022 happens to be in that 3-year time frame where something is going to change significantly, and we actually started setting up a product and dev team with Rayden Interactive now, so that we are able to actually develop, do software development and product management as well, and be like a well-rounded product organization. And when we say maintaining a balance between product and service, I think while we've done services and we provided services with Rayden Interactive, we while we do services, we work with a product mindset, and we're hoping to kind of challenge how that works and how best to utilize that. So with that said, I think I managed to do this in 32 minutes. So that was good. This is my last slide, and we're at the end of it. So we can open the floor for questions.
Thank you, Mooshir, for that interesting introduction to the way things have progressed. And it's very interesting to see how you started off work even before you graduated from IDCNs and got on to business. That is really great. What I was just wondering, I'd seen in your bio that you exhibited across the world. So can you give us a 2-minute talk on that? What was it?
Yeah, so I had a slide about a video for that in this presentation, but I was like, nobody wants to see that, so I took that out. But as part of our thesis project back in ITP, we actually worked on developing. Well, it was a table lamp that was supposed to behave as a pet dog, and my interest on the art side has always been around art and technology, and so this was our aim at kind of inducing more humanness or life into daily objects around us. So this table lamp, it has a life of its own, and once the user starts to interact with it, it starts to react and behave as a pet dog. So if you don't mind, I will quickly show you a small video of it so that it'll make more sense. Hold on a second.
Sure.
All right, let me share my screen again. Right. It's a let's talk a little bit more about it. But it's a table lamp that actually has 6 degrees of freedom, and it's programmed so that the more you interact with it, the more playful it becomes. If you stop, but it also kind of runs out of energy because it is being more playful. So there's a balance between energy versus playfulness. And at some point, if you stop playing with it, it will go to sleep and kind of rest, which is kind of what happens around here. And so it primarily has capacitive sensors in the body, and then it has motion sensors around the head of the light. Yeah. That's how it responds. It was actually this project that we exhibited at a bunch of different museums around the world. So there were a couple of places in New York that this was exhibited. Then it was at the Disney Hub Museum in Barcelona, and in the University of Limerick Museum called. There was an event called Tweak that happened in Ireland, which is where we just exhibited this as well. So I'm hoping. So this was actually the second version of the product that we made. I'm hoping that at some point, we're able to do more such stuff as well. But yeah, we get to it.
Thanks. That's pretty interesting how you bring in technology into art also, and it interacts. Yeah, Raghu, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Your name Mooshir, right? Mooshir?
Mooshir.
Mooshir, which year you passed out IDC?
2006.
2006. Okay. I just wanted to know, see, you have such a varied kind of an interest of service and products and now in IT. I really wonder, I would like to understand, how do you manage your focus on this thing? And I just want to really understand, how do you, both on services as well in, now you're talking of 800 people, right, in services?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How do you manage the focus?
Yeah, so I think that's been the fun part of it. Like I would say, in the past 2-3 years, unfortunately, the service side of business has become more dominating, and that's where a lot of our focus has been. So the product side of things has suffered a little bit, but then we kind of go through times, right? So and both me and Parul like to be involved in everything that we do together. So while she hasn't spoken much on this presentation, she does most of the work. I do most of the talking.
I could see that. He's silent. Yeah. You tell me what these 800 guys or these people really contribute to.
Yeah. So we actually have departments or verticals that is required for every aspect of a software company, right? Basically a product software company. So there's a big team that actually does the implementation of the product. So for a bigger SaaS-based application, there is a team that's required to then, once the client signs on for that product, there's a team that's required to configure the product, to deploy the product, and to get them up to speed with using them. So that's our client solutions team. So there's a big team that does implementation of the product. Then there's a big team that provides support for existing clients when they run into issues with the product. There's another team that does a lot of market research for finding or identifying new clients for the product that we're offering as well. So these are some of the bigger teams, but then there are lots of ancillary teams as well. Teams that do site reliability, teams that do we also managed to scale our UI UX team within this now. So we do a lot of that work for them as well. But then there is a recruitment team, and there's an HR team, and there is the marketing team, and there's a digital marketing team, and so all of that. So basically anything and everything that's required for a product organization, like a software product organization, is now within our umbrella.
I'm sure that when moving from product design to these kind of software products, and when you're moving in, I'm sure in the transition period, whatever 2019 or whatever you're talking, I'm sure you must have come across so many challenges and hurdles. And can you just put some major challenges and hurdles and what you face? That will be a great knowledge for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest challenges for us has been driving alignment of thought with people that come from different backgrounds, right? So while me and Parul didn't have any background in terms of running a big organization, we obviously hired a lot of senior people along the way, and people with a lot of years of experience as well. And I think our main selling point, or at least what we feel we contribute to, is our way of thinking, which is it has been kind of inscribed into us at looking at a problem and then looking at solutions and kind of trying to solve for it, right? So to long story short, I think one of the biggest challenges that we faced is getting people to think creatively and look at problems afresh and try to solve them in the most simplest and creative way possible. Logistically, of course, there are a lot more challenges that come up, because like when we started, we didn't have anybody, right? Like Parul was doing the shortlistings. Parul was acting as the HR person. I was acting as the person who kind of did job postings and interviews and all of that. As we scaled, we kept adding layers and layers of stuff to a point where now we have whole departments that kind of manage all of this. But it has been a big learning process. Like the first day we hired someone, they would use acronyms that we had no idea about. Like I didn't know what I didn't know what a KRA is or what a KPI is, and all of that. And like it's learning.
Are you planning for any IPO, or what kind of a constitution you are in, or next 3 years, 5 years, 2 years plan when you have just scaled up so much?
Yeah, I mean, we are a private limited company right now, and I mean, we are. I think we're pretty far away from anything close to an IPO. Like we would continue being a private limited company for as long as possible. I think the only time we would think of something else is, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, the idea is to continue to support Frisia in its growth. Our product and dev organizations to a point where at some point maybe we can start thinking about developing products for ourselves within the Indian context, staying in the healthcare domain. And once we get to that point, again, we would continue to do this with support of Frisia, because we have a very strong partnership with them. And I think that's the next step that we are hoping to kind of get to.
Good. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful presentation and a great experience. If you have any idea of going for an IPO, please ping in the group or in the alumni. Okay. I'm from 83, 85 batch.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Sunil, please go ahead.
Hi Parul, hi Mooshir, Sunil here.
Hey Sunil.
I just wanted to say hi, no questions here.
सुनील वीडियो भी ऑन कर दो यार, दिख जाओगे कैसे दिख रहा है आजकल.
एक मिनट, यहाँ नेटवर्क का इश्यू है, आई होप इट कम्स थ्रू.
हाँ वैसे ही दिख रहे हो जैसे मेरे को याद था.
नहीं यार, बहुत बाल गिर चुके हैं.
That is for everyone.
Hi Parul, how are you?
Good to see you. Yeah.
Long time.
True.
We'll catch up later. Hope other guys have
Won't let
questions.
won't let that pass. Certainly.
Okay. Now you guys are
Achwanka sir,
Pune, right?
please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. First is I'm surprised and I also amazed by the kind of work you're doing. Wonderful, really wonderful and amazing. You're able to bridge the gap between technology, art, and design, and I think you're able to keep all the things running simultaneously. So it's really wonderful job. That what last time I visited you, you were a small company, you're growing, but this is tremendous. The kind of growth. So congratulations for success that you have. I thought I would also tell a small story, which might be something useful to you. There was one successful doctor in Bombay who was well known, so people would come to him from different places. He had a small hospital in a residential building with about 20 beds, and his demands for his services were far more. So I happened to ask him, why is it that you're not growing? And he said something interesting, and I want to know how you solve that problem. He said that if I grow, I'll have to worry about casual leaves of nurses and about the kitchen staff and whether the supplies have come or not. And I will not be able to look at the medical part of it. He says that every patient that comes, he looks at it completely himself. All surgeries are done by him. Yes, he doesn't keep any assistance. He says that my personal touch is very important. Now, you're growing to 800. How do you want to keep your touch with design? You still have major roots in design, no? And I thought both you and Parul can answer that question.
I would love to take this
Yeah.
one, sir. So when you spoke about casual leaves, so what we've been striving to do is to get design thinking into solving these operational issues that we run every day, right? So one drastic change that we made in January was to offer unlimited leave policy, which means that we don't keep a track of leaves with people. In a similar manner, we're trying to put certain aspects of processes in place where we can get our design thinking churned and propagate that through the organization as well. It's not been easy, but small changes like that is what we're trying to do. We like fundamental finance processes as well. How is it that you think from a user's perspective to understand and solve for it? How do you make those internal processes user friendly or employee friendly? So that's been the challenge as well, but that's what keeps our heart sticking.
No, and I'll just add to that. We've kind of accepted a couple of things as things have grown. One is that we are able to create a much larger impact by delegating certain responsibilities. Like our role has obviously changed significantly. Like as much as I used to love, even with UI UX, as much as I used to love doing every screen myself. I can get a lot more done by having a team of 5 people who I am kind of overseeing and directing than doing it all myself. And I think same with the product side of things. So I think while doing it yourself is something that we do miss once in a while, but the satisfaction of getting more accomplished by kind of delegation and scaling the organization outweighs that a little bit. And we do like wherever possible, we do kind of use our requirement for designing things, whether it is on a specific product or for a process that we're trying to improve. So like the last recent ones that we showed you, the terracotta carafe picture, right? That was actually, we were thinking about, a gift that we can give to all the employees for the 3rd anniversary. And we were like, this is a great opportunity for us to sit and actually design something that we can do for everybody. And it'll be this custom made thing that we just designed for the employees, right? So we took that, so we do kind of exercise our right in that sense to get involved in projects as closely as possible, and at the same time take a step back and delegate when required to kind of attain that scale.
Yeah, I saw that because most of the objects that you have designed, I can see that there is a touch of Mooshir and Parul in that. all the terracotta objects or any other. I can see that they're done personally by somebody who is concerned about it. And that's a very good quality. And I hope you're able to maintain it even when you grow. So all the best for that.
Yeah, and I think like one of the things that we've been trying to inculcate in everybody that works with us is to say that no matter what you're doing, you have to do it well, and the idea is to put all of your heart into whatever you do.
But you're creating competitors for yourself.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Because like if this like the past 2-3 years have been quite exciting, and also somebody else wants to do this, I am okay. I'm okay with them doing it. So it's just fun for us. Right. Prashant, do you have a question? Hi. We can't hear you, Rashid.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm so happy for you guys and for your growth, and it's just awesome and phenomenal, and keep in touch and keep the touch. So we'll catch up another time, and I just wanted to say I'm really happy for both of you people, and say hi to Zubin.
Yes.
Thanks, Rashid.
Yeah, we'll meet up another time.
Yes.
I'll leave the other people to discuss.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Vinayak, please.
Yeah. Hi, Mushir and Parul both. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a very off-bit question. Nothing to do with design. Like I think about 10 days back, I'd been to Nandigram with Uday sir to meet his classmate. Uh, I saw the founders of Nandigram, and both of them looked almost alike. And today I noticed that both you and Parul look almost alike. And has design does this to you or love? I mean, it's a personal question you may or may not answer. But I look at you as almost design twins. Yeah. And that's great.
No, I
This
think
is a perfect alignment, and I think that is at the source of your creativity. Congratulate both on that. And you look like almost like design twins to me. I mean, I keep observing some odd things. And hope it's not embarrassing for you guys.
yeah, no, I take that as a compliment. And I've always heard that couples who stay together start to look like each other. We definitely start to behave like each other for sure. But I think it's more of us have been with us, been together for such a long time. Like we've always been questioned, like how can you be married and be 24/7 with each other and also work together, but it just works for us. Like since the time we met in IDC in 2004, we've been together pretty much 24/7, and it just works for us. So I think that's probably what contributes to us looking.
Yeah, it's great. Congratulations. I would love to meet you up.
Yeah.
See you both sometime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats. Great to know you work.
Yes, Ayan, please go ahead.
Hey, Mushir and Parul, congratulations for the phenomenal growth that you guys are doing. I'm very junior to you guys. Like I joined IDC in 2016 and 18 batch. So, and also since Uday sir is there, so I have studied with him. Like he taught us game design and everything. So my question here is that when you have scaled from 8 to 800, right? So how exactly you are managing the automation of the design process, and like how exactly being a one single person who understand the value of your own brand that you have created, and since you are trying to maintain the same sort of consistency of following the design process, following the language, and following the brand, philosophy that you might have built, right? So how you are able to manage that consistency and able to scale that automation? So that is the question. Yes.
And I think one of our fundamental beliefs has been that we have to hire people for their attitude and not their skill, right? And that's worked really well for us, because unless you are aligned with people that are going to be working with you, it becomes very difficult to then scale your organization. We've been fortunate that we've been able to hire the right people at the right time. We have made some bad decisions, some bad hires, but largely, we've been able to hire the right people at the right time. And you have to kind of keep, as you scale, you have to start building that hierarchy of sorts where, like, we are now not responsible for everything on a day-to-day basis. Like, you have to also give up control in a lot of sense. Like, we have to at times be okay with the fact that, if like there's a constant decision that happens, that if we are involved, it might happen 100%, but if you're not involved and it happens 95%, that's fine, right? Because you can't be involved in everything. So that is a trade-off that we have to make at some point of time. And then we spend a lot of time in making sure that we align everybody that is a decision maker in the organization, so that everything that happens in the organization, more or less is how we would have done it ourselves. Right?
Thank you. So I just wanted to ask one more question, following question. So you said, since you guys are delegating work and everything, so are you also getting involved into all the processes in any like all the projects, or you're just like overseeing all the projects, like how exactly things are going on?
As the leader of the organization, you have to be informed about everything that happens in the organization. It's just about the level of detail, right? So at any given point of time, we do so, and these are things that we've also learned in the past year or two, right? Like, there is a certain weekly cadence with which we get updates from certain teams. There is a monthly cadence through which we get an update from other parts of the organization and all of that. And there is that whole system that we've kind of built and put in place, so that we're informed about the most important things that are required. And then, at the same time, we empower people to make decisions on their own, so that we don't have to be consulted for everything that needs to happen. In that sense. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you. Again, amazing, and congratulations again to both of you. Keep growing. And lastly, I would say, just like, I'm a product designer as well as I'm a design tutor. So I have my own institute running as Ignite India. So if you guys get a chance to, visit or something like this, so that will be great. Yes, thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Yes, Manasi, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi Parul and Mooshir. I've kept in touch with them, so I kind of know what they've been doing, and I congratulate you again. I just wanted to highlight that both of them have had a vision always for the let's say the next few months or years, what they want to do, and I really appreciate that. You have always achieved what you aimed for, every milestone that you set for yourself, which is great to see. It's very inspiring. Also the kind of calculated risks that you have taken and driven through whatever, because it's very, very difficult to get this kind of a drive where there is no role model in front of you, or there is no set path being in our field. It's really nice to see our batchmates achieving such things. So I congratulate you again, and we'll catch up later.
Thank you, Mansi. I think you just made parents.
Okay, great.
Very well said.
Yes, sir. Atwankar, sir.
Yeah, I just have a personal question. So fun. June 04. You met at the time of interview. Did you interview each other?
No, so I'll actually
And then,
I'll tell you the story, sir. So what happened was I had actually met one of Parul's friend in the interview at IISc. So I knew her. And when the interviews were happening at IDC, I saw her and I went to speak to her, and Parul was standing next to her. That's how I got introduced to Parul. That friend of hers didn't actually make it into IDC, but she was responsible for me meeting Parul on that day. And while I didn't get any bow from Parul on that first day, eventually when we got into IDC and joined in July, that's when we actually met properly.
okay, no, I thought you made a deal with IDC that you would take both of you together.
I think it was
Mushir.
yes.
Yeah, it was not IDC. You guys met each other at Indian Institute of Science first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys met each other at Indian Institute of Science first, and then you kind of carried on at IDC.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, is it? Anyway,
Skeletons
we'll
are
figure
coming
that
out
out
of the
later.
cupboard. Skeletons are coming out.
We should zip it.
Yes, Barkha, please go ahead.
Yeah, fantastic work, you guys. And I'm so inspired by the whole journey and the whole story. Wow. And yeah, definitely getting a little nostalgic now. Great, great. I'll come and meet you guys. Definitely.
Yeah, use this energy. Come, let's meet here. We're so close to.
Yeah. Okay. See you later.
So I still remember very distinctly where Parul and Mushir were coming on a staircase and they showed their engagement ring or whatever it was. I still clearly remember that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got engaged at pretty young age, like while we were at IDC. So,
I remember seeing the rings, but I don't know whether it was an engagement ring or something.
Yeah.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt. We will close the session in terms of the recording. You can continue talking. That's not a problem. We'll okay. So thank you for the great talk and so much of interaction that happened. So much of inspiration that you're sharing with giving to all the others. So please keep up the great work, and definitely we'll have some more session where you can talk more into your some other projects that you're working on and how you're going about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this platform. I mean, I'm grateful to have met everyone here as well, and having the opportunity to share our journey. And I've been listening to others' journey as well. And I think, thank you guys.
Thank you very much. So good night.
Good night.
thanks everyone.
Moshe, I have just